Hey, good people. Welcome back to the Wines, Bites, Beats podcast. This is season 2. The first one, as you know by now, was it was basically me and my missus getting pissed over the episodes, trying to conjure up a decent and a half conversation around wine, food, and music, which went down like a rattlesnake in a nucky dip, but we kind of got through it and it got some listens. Someone in Sonoma County actually listened to it, which I don't know how that happened, but they did. But this time I thought I should probably have some structure coming into this one and actually have on guests that are from my world, my passions, my 3 pillars, which are wines, bites, beats, aka wine, food, and music. So you know who we've had before. We've had Sophia recently from the wine world. And now's the time to get some foodies on. So we've got some cool guests lined up, including this guest this evening, which is Adam, who runs McLaren Fine Foods down in Weybridge in Surrey, which is where I live. And he's going to talk to us about food and elaborate on a few things and a few questions that I have for him. But we met last year, where I ordered one of his amazing afternoon tea boxes, brought them to the house and set up a little thing for my wife. And we enjoyed that thoroughly. Then they opened up a lovely, beautiful little shop in Weybridge and never looked back since. And we've kind of kept in touch. And so here we are. So Adam, welcome. Welcome.
Thank you, Scott. Thanks for having me. Thanks for the invitation.
Was that a decent intro? Was that kind of
that was pretty good. That was a nice little nutshell.
Good nutshell. Do you remember that scene in Austin Powers when he says, "I'm in a nutshell"?
Look at me, I'm in an invisible nutshell.
Exactly. I don't know what I thought of that. So listen, as you know, I've given you 4 questions to prepare answers for, which I'm going to ask every single one of our guests, and I'm hoping they're all going to be different. Otherwise, it'd pretty much a waste of time. But before we do that, can you just tell listeners the first question, really, which alludes to, which is what made you start McLaren Fine Foods. But before you do that, could you just tell us a bit about your background? Because you are if I can say, like a foodie, but I'm a foodie as well, but a very different one. I enjoy eating, and that's about it, and enjoy the odd cook. But this is your profession, let alone passion. Because you just give us a little rundown of how you got into the trade, where you started, and how you've come to be where you are now.
Yeah, so I've been a chef for, I hate to say 20 plus years. Because the other day, it's my birthday next week, and I actually realised how old I was. So, yeah, it's probably over 20 years now.
How old are you going to be? How old are you going to be?
Either 36 or 37, I'm not quite sure. One of those.
Oh, well, that's all right. That's all right. I'm 40 next year. Don't worry about that.
I don't know, I'm dreading that far. Anyway, so I've been, a chef for 20 years. I come from a family of foodies. My mum was a chef. My aunt's a cake baker. And my life really just revolved around food. When I was younger, leaving school, and it's a funny thing, but I actually flipped a coin at what I was going to do for a living.
Really?
Sat down with mum and dad when you're picking that course that you want to do at college. My dad was a test driver, so he was cars and racing and all that kind of stuff. And then mum was a chef, always been in food, always been that kind of thing. And literally sat down, flipped a coin, and heads or tails, landed on being a chef.
Whoa.
Fast forward, here we are. So now, food is my life and cars are my hobby. So
okay, that tells a story about some of the stuff I've seen on your Insta about cars. That makes a bit of sense now.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's where it comes from. So yeah, family of petrol heads and family of foodies.
Any racers in the family? Other than, like you said, was a test driver? Did he race?
Yeah, he's a test driver. So he did a lot of work for Mercedes, General Motors, that kind of thing. Like he was the first person outside of Mercedes, McLaren, to drive the SLR and that kind of thing. So he'd done some really, really cool, interesting work.
Nice.
And and then mum just being a really good home cook and a chef, and just literally brought me up around baking. So it was an easy thing for me to really do. Yeah. And it evolved, and I absolutely love food, really do. Like it is my life.
Yeah.
And trained at college, went into restaurants, went into hotels, and then basically just stayed in like really good 4 or 5-star hotels my entire career.
Blimey. Yeah. When I was at and this, by the way, I'm not trying to compare us in any way, shape, or form, but if anyone's seen on my bio and a couple of posts I did a few weeks ago, I alluded to the fact that when I left school, I didn't go to college, but I wanted to be a chef when I left school. But being a naive, kind of silly, all that sounds nice without thinking about it. I think I'll be a chef. No, I'd like to be. I think I will be a chef. So you think that sounds quite ballsy. That's bold. That's good. Go for that. And then I worked at a couple of hotels in Crawley, in West Sussex. And then I was one of these idiots where I thought, I don't like the hours. No, I don't. I don't like the hours. I don't think this is for me. And I don't regret it necessarily, but I binned a few good opportunities because I thought, no, I'm missing my nights out with the boys. So my point is, when you started, did you find it? And I just picked up on something you said about saying food is your life. So, given your passion and your goal and the flip of the coin, the whole thing, did you find it difficult, especially the social aspect of it or the lack of? Did you find it difficult to get your nut down and crack on, or did you suffer from a bit of, am I doing this because I really want to do it? I'm missing all of this stuff. Is it going to come around and bite me in the ass one day?
Well, I'll tell you what, when I was younger, yes, it was difficult. All my friends were out clubbing, out drinking, um, doing all that young adolescent thing. And when I suppose the kind of thing that really built my career was I lost my dad at a young age. I lost my dad when I was 19.
Right.
So in a car accident. So it was kind of like focus on life, time to grow up.
Mm-hmm.
And I just put myself into my work and into my food. And yes, you do lose people along the way because you can't go out on a Saturday night every single night because you're in service. You can't go out on a Friday night because you're in service. That's what it is. But the friends that I have now, all from hospitality, we're all in the same, the same boat, the same business, and the friends that you pick up through hospitality are worth losing out on other things. My best friend was my sous chef for many, many years. We worked in 2 hotels together. He's like a brother to me. Some of my good friends now I've known for absolute years because I met in the industry.
Right.
And because we're all on the same understanding, you just become a big family.
Yeah.
And yes, the hours are long. Yes, you spend more time at work than you do at home. But it's that camaraderie that you build.
Yeah. Yeah.
The fact you can rely on people, you've got, that everyone's always got your back. You've always got friends around you. You've always got family around you. So it does make up for it.
Yeah.
But yes, it does suck when, you miss my niece's birthday or, I had plans for this. Oh, I can't now because I know I've got to work. Those kind of things do get a bit tiresome.
Yeah.
But they only tend to happen when you're at the top of your game.
Right. Sure. Yeah.
When you are responsible, when it's your name above the door, when it's your reputation, all that kind of thing online. If you want it, you have to put the work in. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah. So before I mention McLaren Fine Foods, just one thing I want to point out is that, correct me if I'm wrong here, I don't think I've got my dates right, but you set this up, your new place, your new residence, if you like, in Weybridge, the shop, everything during the pandemic. So did you find it like I mean, I can't imagine it. Did you sit down and think, fuck it, let's do it? Or did you think, was there lots of trepidation? Was there lots of, Jesus, is it going to go this way? Is it going to go that way? Is it a massive risk? Are we going to be in trouble? Or were you fully confident saying, no, do you know what? This is going to work?
It all started as an idea. It started off as an idea from Maria way back in March, yeah. So just at the beginning of the first lockdown, we were like, obviously me being in the hospitality industry, working in restaurants, everything's closing. We're like, okay, what happens if I lose my job? And then what Maria does, she works for Air Products in Hersham. So she manages their events, manages their conferencing, manages all their travels and all that kind of thing. Obviously, there's no travel, there's no events, there's no conferences. So we're thinking, right, shit, what do we do if she loses her job? Thinking very adult here. Let's, what can we do as a backup? And Maria said, well, no one can get out of the house. So why don't we take food to them? Yeah, smart move, genius idea. Then I was chatting to one of my veg supplier at the time, and he was in so much trepidation he couldn't understand how he was going to get through. He said, look, we've got, we're losing staff. There's veg rotting in Covent Garden Market, because obviously all the restaurants are closed. So we're like, well, we'll do what we can. So Maria come up with this brilliant idea of delivering fruit and veg boxes. So we started off doing that just purely off of Facebook, in and around our local area, 3 miles within West Byfleet at the time. And it just grew and grew and grew. Peak time, we were doing 300 veg boxes a week.
Oh, Jesus.
We would get the veg delivered to home at 4 o'clock in the morning. I would pack the veg boxes. We would store them, and then I would go to work, come home from work, and go and deliver all the veg boxes.
Holy cow.
And then Maria's managing Facebook and managing all the messages and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, we were doing it for a few weeks, and then all these other companies started popping up. You know, all these local people delivering fruit and veg. We're thinking, right, well, this is going pretty well for us. What else can we do? So kindly, another one of my suppliers, Walter Meats, based in Ashford, Jerry Wensley, amazing guy. I've known him for many, many years. Offered me one of his refrigerated vans. So he said, have one of the vans, you know, if you need any help. So then we started doing dairy, we started doing breads, we started doing fresh meat, all that kind of stuff, and then evolved again. And then business is going and going and going, and then we're thinking, right, okay, look, everyone else is now doing the same thing. So now you can buy fruit and vegetables plus your meat, plus your milk, plus all your this. So you don't have to queue at Tesco's. Fine, okay, what else can we do? And then we just, you know, obviously clicked, and Maria said, well, what about an afternoon tea? Everyone loves an afternoon tea.
I did.
Just so happens, I think I make the best scones in Surrey. So, you know, just saying, chucking that out there. So it was, yeah, we just did it, and we did it for a few Sundays in a row, Sundays only, because it was my one day off of the week. And obviously, what else are you going to do apart from do afternoon teas? So our first week we did 50 deliveries. Week after that we did 80 deliveries. Week after that we did over 100 deliveries. And then I was still working full time at this point, constantly. So then we were getting friends over to come and help do deliveries. Like on a busy day, we would have five drivers out delivering afternoon teas in and around Surrey.
God.
And then we just pushed the fuck it button. Literally just like, well, everyone's asking, can you do an afternoon tea on Tuesday? Can you do it on Wednesday? Can you do it on this day? Like, we're just doing it on Sundays.
Yeah.
And the business was there, and we just went, fuck it.
Yeah.
Let's give up my quite well-paid job in London.
Right.
And let's just go for it. So we then put in loads of calls to different hotels, restaurants, pubs, everywhere around, asking if we can borrow their kitchen. Like, obviously no one's using anything. Happily to pay rent, you know, pay for the use of the space. And kindly, the pantry in West Byfleet, Ben Piet, who owns London House Camouflage and the pantry, he said, well, we're not using the pantry, feel free to use the space. So we moved into the pantry, carried on doing the fruit and veg boxes and all the home essentials, and then just started churning afternoon teas. Like, we've always kind of said, if it doesn't feel right, we're not going to do it. So we were at the pantry for a long time. We talked about possibly buying the pantry and making that a proper home for us. But there was just something in there that just didn't quite feel right for us. So we decided to look elsewhere. By which time we'd also taken on a member of staff. So then we've actually, you know, fully fledged employing other people.
Mm-hmm.
And then I looked at the shop in Weybridge, found it online. Thought, oh, this looks really good. You know, let's go and check it out. Walked in there and fell in love with it straight away.
That was it, really? One of those ones you walk in and this is it. Okay.
Literally walked in, Maria and I looked at each other and just went, this is it. Yeah. Like, we could do so much with that space. And like right now, you walk into the shop and it's, you know, it's really warm and cozy with all the shelving and the colours and everything that we've done. But when it was an empty space, my God, it's huge.
Yeah,
you know?
Sure.
And so then we just literally hit the ground running. And we're like, right, well, we've got a shop.
It's a really inspiring story. I didn't realise that much went in to it. Like operationally, what you were doing back then, 300 veg boxes a week. I didn't realize you quit your job to do it. It's a proper story of like, right, it's happening. The demand is there. Do you know what? Let's just do it. It's almost like that flip the coin moment you had when you were younger. It's like, what are we going to do? Let's just trust the coin, or go with instinct, go with your gut, follow your heart, kind of thing. I didn't realize all of that. That's like proper inspiring for people listening. That is, if you want an inspirational story of how to go get something, follow a dream.
4,500 afternoon teas later.
Fuck me, 4,500. I bet you can make no wonder you can make the best scones in Surrey.
Yeah. I mean, like today was, today we did, I made 150 scones this morning. So, it was another busy day. And then with the market yesterday as well. So, yeah,
it's good.
This month, January has been our best month for afternoon teas that we've had so far.
It kind of does make sense, but it also doesn't make sense. It must be a bit baffling thinking, how did that happen? But you can understand why. But even still, like January, that never happens.
Yeah, exactly that.
Jesus. Well, hopefully it continues throughout the year, because who doesn't like an afternoon tea, essentially? And people, when I ordered it for meal, I thought of it. I only ever think of afternoon tea if I'm out in the Cotswolds, because there's loads of places to have, which I haven't been there in ages, obviously. And when I got one from you when you were based at the pantry, I was doing, I think it was my wife's, no, it can't have been birthday. Maybe, I don't know what it was, but I just thought that looks nice. I'll get that because it's an occasion. Now, as everyone knows, you don't need an occasion to go and have a nice box or a bottle of wine or some fizz or a little box of goodies, little tricks and bits and pieces, just kind of like any excuse. So no wonder why it's doing so well. For those that haven't, anyone listening, for those that haven't been into the shop, it's in Weybridge. And you mentioned the word when you go in, it's cozy. It really is. And I'm sure I get what you mean when you walked in initially and it was a shell. You think this is huge, but now you're cocooned by amazing produce, and it is really really cozy. If you want to go in and have a massive shop full of food, go to Whole Foods. But if you want like a really nice kind of family run cozy little place where you can pick up essentials, you can pick up treats, things change daily and or weekly, I'm sure. But it's a proper nice. I think is Weybridge needed that. I think actually, whether it needed it or not, it's a welcome addition. That's for sure.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, that's like I said. It was a massive space, and then we started off with 2 massive piles of wood, and just built the shelving. We didn't. We had an equipment friend of mine come down. He measured up, and we ordered like obviously the tables and the fridges and all that kind of stuff. But as far as the shelving went, my mum's partner and I, we literally just started with 2 big piles of wood and just built the shelving as we went. And
Nuts.
And it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. We got that shop fully built in 2 days.
Oh my god!
Yeah, Tommy and I, my who works there now, we built the counter, and built all the shelving and literally just hit the ground running. From getting the keys to opening was 12 days.
Christ, that just doesn't happen. That's inconceivable to me, to have you handed the keys and then be open, good to go in 12 days. That's ridiculous. I doff my cap to you. So that really genuine. I knew some of it, half of it, I'd say, the story behind what you do, but I didn't realise loads of detail there. That's why I said that's a real inspiring story. Can we, if we may, Adam, move on to the questions that I asked you, which I'll ask our guests in future? Is it all right if we do that?
Go for it.
Right, so we've
done a lot of thinking this one,
but it did. Well, that's the point. You kind of, I want people to think about it, but I also want them to rely on a bit of instinct, because otherwise, if you think about it too long, your mind will change, and just that it tends to happen. So, question one, I wanted to ask you about McLaren Fine Foods, which you've done, amazing. This question I'm going to put to you now. I'm going to read it word for word as I've read it because I can't remember it. So, pick 3 dream guests to walk into your store right now, and 3 things you'd want them to put in their basket. And there's a couple of ways you could interpret that. So obviously you need to think of 3 guests, dream guests. So they could be people from it could be from the food world, it could be from the porn world, it could be from anywhere. 3, I'm hoping it's not. 3 dream guests and 3 things you'd want them to have. And you could be thinking, right, what's the 3 products that we've got on promotion at the moment? What's my favorite 3 products? The 3 things you think, I think they're going to love it because we are the bollocks at making these.
I thought about this, and I was thinking, right, 3 people who I would love to meet. in past or present or future, whatever, 3 people that I would love to meet, and what would I think they would buy? That's kind of how I went with it.
Okay.
So guess number 1, I went with the legend that is Sean Connery.
Hey, there he is. Yeah.
Mainly because I think he's just the epitome of cool, or was.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And I had the pleasure of meeting a couple of the Bond guys over the years, but never got to meet Sean Connery, which is a bit of a shame. And to me, I always thought he was the best James Bond. So I thought if he would walk in, I'd love him to buy a vanilla donut. So I think he's a vanilla donut kind of guy. A bottle of Mitch's number 1 bourbon.
Ooh.
Which I'm currently sipping on right now.
I thought it was. I knew you said it would be bourbon. Very nice.
And one of our 40-day aged ribeye steaks.
I think it'd be I think anyone would be a happy man. But I think Sean Connery walking in and you have a chit chat and say, well, come over here. I've got a donut, a nice little bourbon for you. And what was the last one you said? A dry aged?
Dry aged ribeye.
Oh,
I think you had one of our ribeyes as well.
I had.
Or was it a sirloin you had?
I had a fillet, which we're going to do Valentine's as well. And I think Nat had a. Well, what did we do actually? Did we have 2 fillets? I think we had 2 fillets actually. I'm yet to try. I'm open. I need to get something in for Valentine's, which I asked. Maria responded. I need to get the order in. It's like shit. Okay, go do that. All right, Sean Connery, vanilla donut, bourbon, and a dry aged sirloin. Guess number 2.
The other cool man of the world, I would say, would be Samuel L. Jackson.
Or is there anyone cooler than Big Sam?
No.
No, there isn't.
There isn't, is there?
No, there really isn't. I mean, he's done it all. How many? Isn't he got the record of the amount, like the general record of the amount of films he has made?
Probably. I mean, everywhere you go, there's a Samuel L. film.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But it's always worth watching. It's always entertaining.
Totally. I've never seen those.
He's like Denzel. Always does a good film.
That's true, but I have never seen Snakes on a Plane.
No, actually, no. It's a fair point. I haven't either. That might be the one. That may be the one crap one out of the list.
He is. I mean, and what would you want him? What would you want him to have?
I think Samuel L. is a jam donut. I think he's a classic jam donut guy.
Sam Jam.
And then a bottle of Chateauneuf.
Yes.
No words needed for that. And then a slice of our local Norbury blue cheese.
Ooh, Norbury blue cheese. How would you? Because I'm asking you this because people describe blue cheese in different ways for some reason to me when I ask them. Maybe that's because they do tend to be different. That's why I'm asking. How would you describe that particular blue?
I think blue cheeses. I think like most cheeses, is just like wine. It's subjective to the person.
Right. Yes.
Very much so.
Yep.
Norbury blue. I would say it's got a nice tang. It's unpasteurized cow cheese, made up by Silent Pool, by Norbury Park Farm. So very local to us. Neil and Michaela, I've known them for more years than I can remember. I've got pissed with them so many times to come there. But make an amazing cheese. So yeah, it's a nice tang. It's not an overpowering blue, and it's just great to eat on its own.
Yeah.
Like if you put it into a sauce, you'll kind of lose it out a bit.
Right.
If you melt it down, you won't get the full effect of it. But the flavour on its own, just a slice of Norbury blue.
Oh, even better with a little slurp of Chateauneuf du Pape.
I mean, come on, what's not? It's my favourite.
Right.
A good Chateauneuf.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So he's come in. He's got his jam donut. He's got his Norbury blue cheese. One more.
And then also, while he's there, I can show him my tattoo of him that I've got on my ankle. But that's another day. Number 3 would be from my favourite band, Matt Bellamy from Muse.
Okay.
Yeah, like I think one of the best guitarists ever lived.
Yep.
I know there have been a few, but he is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
If he walked in, I would say I'd like him to buy a cinnamon bun.
Yeah.
Loads of fresh produce, loads of our fresh locally produced, and a cup of the Adam Blend Americano.
Oh, very nice. That's that you've considered these, but particularly that last one, I think. What about if Matt Bellamy did come in, enjoy all those things? What about if he came in with his I'm trying to think of the song now, because it's funnily enough, the song I'm about to tell you is the song that me and my wife our first ever dance at someone else's wedding. We requested this and it's Unintended.
Oh, brilliant.
Which is the lyrics are unreal. Imagine if he came in and serenaded you and the guests in the shop, let's say, with that, whilst enjoying all those things. That is such a good song.
Brilliant. Yeah, Marie and I went to see Muse at Olympic Park, not last year, obviously, the year before.
Yeah. I've heard their shows are outrageous, like they're proper shows, experiences.
Yeah, it's not just three blokes playing instruments. It's the most amazing. Some of my best moments and memories listening to music with Maria at seeing Muse. Like incredible. And we were so close.
Oh, really?
Like, I've got pictures on my phone where you can actually see features of their face. Like, we were literally 3 people away from the front.
Oh, amazing.
Like, truly experienced.
I've never been, so I can't comment, but it's one of those ones. If once gigs start up again, if they ever did another tour like that again, I'd rip my arm off to go and see them. And my wife said the same thing. So you'd pay money, serious wedge, to go and see them.
Yeah. Worth it.
Yeah, totally. Was that another drop of bourbon? I just saw you slyly pouring yourself.
Yeah, I didn't want to blur the camera. Yes.
Before I come on to the last...
It's been a long week, so I'm kind of...
Oh, God, I can imagine. Yeah, all those scones. Yeah, I bet it's been hard, yeah. By the way, scone or scone?
Scone.
Well, the reason why I say scone...
To me, scone is the plural.
Right, okay. Because
I'm saying it out loud, that's what I do.
Okay, good. Because I was once told, and still get told, is that you don't give a dog a bone. So it's like, well, yeah, okay, you got a point, but it's still a scone.
Scone.
Right, okay, wicked answers. Let's go on to the last question, which is another kind of scenario-based question. This is the scenario. So it's nothing that innovative, really, but it's a scenario nonetheless. You've been locked in your shop. No bad thing. You could be selling batteries and pencils, which would be pretty crap, but you've been locked in a shop. So no bad thing. And you've got no way out for one day. Pick a starter or something in your shop that you could have as a starter, a main and a pudding, along with a bottle of wine and one song of choice to accompany you in your one day of solitude. This probably took a bit, I don't know, maybe it took a bit of time to think about.
So I actually stood in the middle of the shop and walked and just held my phone as I was reading the question and just spun around slowly. Like, there's so many things I could do here.
Yeah,
but
that's the problem, yeah.
The way that I love food, the way that, like, me cooking food and me eating food are 2 different things.
Right.
Totally different things. For me to cook and eat, what we have now, I would have to go baked camembert, warm sourdough, really rich red onion chutney.
Oh, stop it. Oh.
But like camembert that's been studded with fresh thyme and fresh garlic. Buttload of black pepper. A little bit of truffle oil on top. Oh, I mean...
That'll do. Just leave it there. That'll do.
That's it. End of podcast. Done. Yeah. Turn it off. No more. So that'll be my starter. Main course would either have to be... Now, I'm a beefy kind of person, not in size or stature, but in food. Love a chateau. Love a ribeye. So it'd either be a chateau or a ribeye. So with a nice peppercorn sauce, can't beat it. For me, can't beat it at all.
Yeah.
And then dessert-wise, it'd have to be a hot, fresh out the oven cinnamon bun with a big scoop of our local salted caramel gelato.
Oh, naughty but nice. What is it about salted caramel? What is it about salted caramel? It's just so delicious.
It's that gets you on the tongue in all those different places, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's that sweet, it's that salted, all blends into one.
Yeah,
it just triggers all them right emotions.
It does. Funnily enough, I did a Insta live tasting on Friday with someone, and it was really good fun. And I did a little experiment with everyone watching. of, this sounds really nasty, but you have to try it, is you get a lump of cheddar cheese, like a strong, like a David style, or some sort of crumbly cheddar cheese, drizzle over some runny honey, and sprinkle over some coffee granules. Now that sounds horrific, but you've got salt, sweet, and bitter all in one lump. And you look at it and think, there's no way I'm putting that in my cake hole. But you chuck it in, you start chomping, and like you just said, which is what salted caramel does, salt, sweet, bitter. That's the order of your first set of taste buds. And it goes ping, ping, ping. And then your mouth just explodes. And there's a good reason why that as an experiment. And then you have that with a certain wine. It's amazing. But salted, yeah, salt and sweet, like peanut butter and jam, maple bacon, cheese and pineapple. It's a winner, isn't it?
Yeah. We've got a maple bacon cinnamon bun in the lineup coming.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Fuck. Maple bacon cinnamon bun. Trying to wrap my head around like the flavour behaviour there. That's madness.
So we're going to put maple butter in the dough, and then on the inside of the dough, once you rolled it, it's going to have a cinnamon maple butter on the inside. Good, and then once it's baked and out, dip it in maple syrup, and then bacon powder chucked on top of it.
Oh,
like a really smoky pancetta.
Yeah.
Cooked until it's really crispy, blended up into a powder, chucked it on.
Oh my God.
Ripping that bad boy apart, with all that dripping maple syrup and that salty bacon on top.
The inside of my mouth is literally just filling up with saliva. It's horrible. It's like, it's nice, but it sounds bloody delicious. So we've got your camembert to start, studded with the thyme, and we've got the warm sourdough, I think you said, but gorgeous. Then we've got your Chateaubriand or fillet, was it? Sorry?
Chateaubriand or a ribeye.
Or ribeye, sorry. And then we've got your cinnamon bun with salted caramel ice cream. And we need a bottle of wine off you. We need a bottle of wine. What would be your ultimate bottle? You'll pop open and think, if I'm going to be in here for 24 hours, I am sinking this bad boy.
Right. If I don't stock it in the shop, but something I've always wanted to try Petrus.
Really? I hope you've got a few quid.
Well, I know. That's why I've never tried it. Maybe when McLaren Fine Food shop number 10 opens, we can then afford to buy one. But no, I've always wanted to try Petrus. But from what I have now in the shop, I would crack open. Now, I don't know what your opinion of it is, because it's quite a well-known, but the 19 Crimes wine range. Now, the Banished 19 Crimes is, I think, bang for buck, value for money, for flavour, for everything that you get in a bottle. I think it's worth it.
I can't argue. And what I would do is, if you asked me that question, and I thought, I genuinely tell you it's terrible, I would say so. I'd be very upfront and honest. It's a decent bottle of giggles. That's good juice. And it, like you said, wine is very subjective. If you like something because you like it, who am I to say, no, it's terrible? But I would say, oh, well, there's a problem here with the winemaking, and they could do a bit more of this. 19 Crimes, decent bottle of wine. Can't argue. That's all very, very good. Delicious.
For the value that it is, you can pick a good range up, and amazing.
Yeah, bang for buck. It's good. It's good gear. That's what you want, isn't it, with wine and anything really? You get what you pay for, don't you? It's in the food world. Exactly. This was something I was going to ask you earlier, actually, because clearly when foods are kind of crafted and not mass produced, and they're handmade and they're prepared in the morning, they're locally sourced, all these things that make fine food, in my opinion, clearly they're going to be more expensive than just going to the shop and buying it, the supermarket to buy a donut. And people know that. Do you find, though, in your experience with food in general, I guess food and drink as well, is that I'm sure you've had your fair share of paying through the nose for something and it's not been very good, well cooked or good quality. But do you think the phrase kind of, you get what you pay for, is relevant to you and important to you?
No. Like, you can, like you said, you can. I've gone to places and I've gone to 1-star, 2-star, 3-star restaurants, had a meal and been like, that's a bit average, And then I've gone to Meat Liquor in Piccadilly Circus, had the most amazing burger of my life with some buffalo chicken wings, walked out grinning ear to ear, pistons apart because I've just got smashed on cocktails.
Yeah.
And that is like, you can get suited and booted and go for a really nice meal. It might be a bit average.
Yeah.
Or you can go somewhere else, pay half the price, have a brilliant time. It's all about the memory and the atmosphere and the environment that you're in.
Couldn't agree more. Meat Liquor's awesome for that, isn't it? Environment and atmosphere.
Yeah, absolutely love Meat Liquor.
That was the first time when I've loved burgers all my life, and if I was stuck in your shop, or I was stuck somewhere for 24 hours, mine would be my dish would be a burger. And that was my first experience of when I read up how they made their burgers when I first had them at a food market somewhere in Dalston, I think it was. But that was my first time seeing them when they put the brushed mustard on the patty before cooking, and it did genuinely give it a new dimension, a flavour, texture. It was a sweetness. It was gorgeous. Their burgers, really good.
Absolutely, I'll tell you. Well, the first time I went to Meat Liquor, a friend and I, we'd been out on the piss in London all day. I mean, all day. And we went to Meat Liquor for dinner. We had burger each, sides, cocktails, everything. Wiped it all off. Waiter came over and he was like, "How was everything?" And we just looked at him and just went, "This? Do it again." So we literally just reordered everything again. And they just like walked out of there proper gloaty, horrible. Like,
oh yeah,
I'm disgustingly full, but fuck me, that was good.
Yeah, that's when you know you've hit the jackpot. When you go somewhere that makes you feel like that, you know you probably couldn't fit in anymore. But you think, please, I need that again. Just recreate that. Just do it again. I've done that before. I can empathize with you in that one. So just quickly recap for us, and you just recap for us everything you just said: starter, main, pud, bottle.
Starter, baked camembert, studded garlic, thyme, black pepper, truffle oil. Sourdough, onion chutney. Gosh, simple. Main would be either a ribeye or a chateau. Tough one to decide. Either a massive 12-ounce ribeye or a nice 600-gram chateau or something like that. Peppercorn sauce, and then hot cinnamon bun fresh out of the oven. Salted caramel ice cream. Bottle of 19 Crimes, the Banished.
Yeah.
I'll be a happy man.
I'll challenge anyone to have a better answer than that. Anyone that comes on the podcast or anyone I meet and ask this question to, I challenge anyone to come up with a better one. What I might add, though, is I'm going to add a bottle of wine to your 19 Crimes, and let's say I'm going to give you a bottle of Priorat. Have you had Priorat before?
No.
It's a really rich, not too dissimilar in style to the 19 Crimes Banished. It's a really heavy duty red wine from a place called Priorat, not far from Barcelona, and it's a blend of Grenache, Tempranillo, Cabernet Sauvignon. But it's pretty unique, and I do want to say loads, but I don't want to say too much because I've got an idea for how to get you a bottle. But especially if you've never tried it before, Priorat. And the reason why I'm saying that, it's a wine that would go and you could drink it with all three courses. Maybe not the cinnamon bun, obviously, but with the camembert, delicious. With the steak, delicious. It's one of those wines that just, you keep going until you can't take any more. The Meat Liquor kind of thing. But Priorat, I'd add alongside your 19 Crimes. I'll get you some. It's awesome. It's mega stuff.
Also, all of that while listening to Johnny Le Hooker.
Right, okay. Next one, yeah.
That's what it would be.
So what is it about music and sort of that particular, what was the song? What was the
Johnny Lee Hooker, Boom Boom.
Yeah, okay, Boom Boom,
classic,
right. Okay.
Classic blues. I mean,
right.
Booze, beef and wine. You know, it's
You know when you see someone, when you said, like, you're a big blues fan.
Love a bit of blues, yeah.
You know when you look at
someone,
someone,
do you know what? I love a lot of music.
Okay.
But yeah, love blues.
Because I was just convinced when you said Matt Bellamy, I automatically built up a picture of me and that Muse. Okay, I could probably have a guess at what kind of band you like. That was a curveball. Johnny Lee Hooker, Boom Boom. I thought, yeah, but you're right though. Beef, booze, blues.
Beef, booze,
I mean,
blues.
is that an actual? You should copyright that.
I think I should have.
What was the order?
Beef, booze, and blues.
That's an idea. There's something in that. That's amazing. You got to do that. If you
Yeah,
don't, I'm going to nick it from my experiences. I'm going to nick that if you don't copyright that.
We'll do it together. There you go. We'll do it together.
Let's do it. Listen, Adam, thank you very much for joining. Can you tell people, please, where people can find you, both physically, in terms of where you're located, where the shop is, how they can reach you, Instagram, website, how can people find you and get in touch?
They can come to our shop at 78 Church Street, Weybridge. We're just on the corner opposite Bar 39. And we are on Instagram at McLaren Fine Foods, on Twitter and on Facebook. So you can go onto our Instagram, see our amazing pictures. Maria does all of our socials. She manages that. She does an incredible job at doing that.
Shout out to Maria.
Far better than me. Far better than me. I get told off for putting, you can always tell if you go onto our story and there's a silly emoji on there, it means that I've done it. But yeah, so that's where we are. And then McLarenFineFoods.com. If you want to get in touch with us, info at McLarenFineFoods.
Wicked. Go check them out, guys. They are good at what they do. That's pretty much how I describe them. There's plenty like them, but they are the mutts nuts, the mustard at what they do, and they're brilliant. So Adam, thank you very much for joining. Appreciate your time. You legend. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.